It looked like the series was slipping away from England when Varun Chakrawarthi ran away with a fifer, but some lower order runs and then a disciplined bowling effort sees them notch up their first victory of the series. The series stays alive. 2-1 it is after Rajkot, where England register a 26-run win. Welcome to ESPN Cricinfo Timeout. We're joined by Sanjay Manjrekar as always. Always a pleasure having your company, Sanjay. The series stays alive, even though it felt like halfway through this game that it might not be so.
Yes, unfortunately, the dew didn't come in, and batting actually became even more difficult. And I thought England learned from their couple of matches earlier. They realized that seam bowlers who take the pace off or slower fast bowlers are better off on this kind of a pitch than Mark Wood and Jofra Archer. So you saw Brydon Carse bowl his four, Jamie Overton bowled his four over, then Adil Rashid was superb.
Yeah, lots of bits and pieces to examine from this contest and how England got over the line. But when you consider the phases, that particular one, last 4 overs, when they went from 127 for 8, but still managed to finish with 171, becomes quite a pivotal phase in this game.
Yeah, that is where Liam Livingstone becomes a dangerous player. He's not the most consistent, but there was something to take away from the way he got those runs. He was one of those only perhaps English batter who was playing just normal shots. He just trusted the basic shots, the big drives and the pulls and, big swing of the bat rather than, what the others were very keen on doing, playing all kinds of sweep shots and stuff like that. So Liam Livingstone stuck to his natural strength, but Ben Duckett, I thought, got a superb start for England. But India should have still got those runs, I thought.
Yeah, because 172, you felt was well within India's reach. They did get runs at the start of the innings too, but then Tilak Varma falls, last ball of the 8th over, the score is 68, and then the runs just dried up after that. Why did that happen?
Yes, as I said, the ball wasn't coming out of the bat. Normally, when it's a night time in India, it just skids on to the bat. And England bowled well. Adil Rashid getting that ball to go through the defense of Tilak Varma was a bit of a blow in the solar plexus for India. Just the way Tilak Varma, the kind of batter he is and the form that he has to be bowled through the game, must have just worried a few incoming batters. Plus, strange batting order today, having a special Dhruv Jurel after Washington Sundar and Axar Patel, didn't make any sense. A specialist batter picked for his batting and who made a name for himself in the way he batted in Test cricket or in Australia. That's the kind of batter you wanted at that stage because India wasn't chasing 210. Got a little too obsessed with left hand, right hand, and Washi at number 6 was just too high a number for him in those conditions.
Do you see that as a rigidity India might do well to steer clear of? This propensity to wanting the left-right combination at all costs?
Yes, I think it's a very good idea in principle, and it's something that most teams should look to follow. And India paid a heavy price for having 6 right-handers in the 50 overs World Cup and just one left-hander in the top 7 or 6. So left hand, right hand makes a lot of sense, but just it seemed like it was almost like a law for India to have a left hand, right hand combination. So just I thought got carried away a bit too much. And that's where they've got to be a little careful about just sticking to common sense because you've got to finally look at the ability of a player. I mean, Wash's T20 batting record, his strike rate is 119, his average is 19. So he's not a number 6 batter. I can understand him being sent as a pinch hit in the first 6 overs. But Dhruv Jurel, even if he's a right-hander, should have been the man.
And while we do speak of the batting depth and what it does to add to India's batting riches in this format, a 6, 7, 8 in any order of Jurel, Axar, Washington doesn't inspire the most confidence?
Yes, and Dhruv Jurel, if you've picked him, you just got to sort of trust him and send him up the order because this is the guy who will need some time to get going. So so batting position didn't help his cause, but this batting order certainly needs a specialist. And Rinku Singh would be my vote when he gets fit. And if he's fit for the next one, he comes straight in. Just too many non-specialists in important positions. Hardik Pandya is also an all-rounder. And then you have Washi, who's bowled just 2 overs in 3 matches. And again, like it was in Australia, uh, not doing enough because of the kind of skills that he has. So yeah, there's a real cry for some specialist talent to come into this Indian team, whether it's Test or 50 overs or T20 cricket. With the new team management, I think they're going in that direction a lot, and they just want to see specialists, just like Varun Chakrawarthi. He's not known for his batting or fielding, but look at the kind of impact a specialist makes.
Yeah, you mentioned one specialist replacement, Rinku Singh. He was, as per the release from last week, supposed to be out for the second and third games. Even if he's not available, there is a Shivam Dube in the squad. Would you play him?
Yes, and I think we won't see a pitch like Rajkot again. Pune, Mumbai will be a lot better. And I see a specialist batter coming in. I hope Rinku before Shivam Dube, because I just feel Rinku Singh has a far greater range as a batter. You heard that word range properly as a batter. And Shivam Dube is a power hitter, but this team has enough power hitting. So Rinku Singh would be just the perfect batter at that position, whether it's 5 or 6.
Hmm. Speaking of specialists, India's specialist bowler, as Sanjay mentioned, Varun Chakravarthi, had another field day, took another fifer, already added himself to a very elite list of Indian bowlers to have multiple fifers in this format. It's quite stunning for a bowler to be flummoxing an opponent game after game.
Absolutely. And, it's just happening very often. I mean, second 5 wicket haul is just crazy in T20 cricket. And I've talked about the reason for it because he pitches the ball up. He's not afraid to pitch the ball up today as well. He bowled one up to James Smith, who tonked him for a six, and then he bowled a little shorter, but he's always up there challenging the batter to go at him. And as they say, fortune favors the brave. So he's willing to take that risk. And that's how he gets his wicket because the ball never sort of just pitches and doesn't go straight on. There's always some trickery there when the ball is released in that area. So hard man to get away. And the only shot perhaps you can play is the one that James Smith played against him. But that's a difficult shot to come and play straight away against somebody like Varun Chakravarthi.
All right. Can't close out the India bowling conversation, Sanjay, without bringing up a bowler who was wicketless on the day, but his arrival on the field meant a lot more. Mohammed Shami finally back out there after the 2023 ODI World Cup. What did you make of his first day back?
Yeah, it's like the Ferrari that's been in the garage for a long time. You started the ignition, it's working properly. It's not yet reached, its full speed limit, but signs are good.
All right. And one final piece, which was quite a vital piece if you now consider that England have won by 26 runs. The start that was provided by Ben Duckett. He was 38 of 14 in the first 5 overs alone. Quite a telling contribution in this game.
Yes, and this is the guy who plays spin well, has the confidence of playing Indian spinners well on Indian pitches, especially on this ground as well. He's your, true sort of maverick with the kind of shots that he plays. Even that Test innings, that made a name for himself here was of that kind. The thing to like about him is that, just like David Warner, has a very low gravity and makes full use of that. So when he's on top of the ball, you just get that feeling that he won't be missing too much. Plus the fact that he is always looking to hit the ball, not necessarily hit the ball out of the ground. So the risk element is lesser, doesn't strive for power. So today was an example of him just trying to hit the ball, make connection. And the only time that he really tried to, hit the ball out of the ground, he got out. So I like his, understanding of his own limitations and getting the strike rate up by looking to hit more fours than sixes is always a better idea. Just less risk with almost the same kind of result.
All right, we'll leave it there. 153 of 151 was a special knock in that Rajkot test last year. That was in a losing cause, but he now has a half century in a winning cause, which keeps the series alive and also means, Sanjay, that as the series comes closer home, with matches in Pune and Mumbai, there is still a lot to play for.
Yes, yes. And you can also say that maybe England felt at home at that Rajkot cricket ground because of one structure that they had, the media centre. It must have just made the English players feel at home.
Well said. Couldn't have thought of a
Yeah,
better
it's a
closing
bit
even if I
late.
wanted to. I will. Let's wrap it there. Thank you so much, Sanjay Manjrekar, for your
Thank you.
time and thoughts. That
Thank
does it from us at the end of the third T20I. Game number 4 is in Pune, and the series stays alive. Catch all of it, all the details, all the coverage. Download the ESPN Cricinfo mobile app. This was ESPN Cricinfo Timeout.